Hey there, welcome to another Showgirl story time. In this Showgirl story time, I'm going to be talking about my very favorite act to perform in Jubilee. It was White Principal Disco, and talk a little bit about how I got that number. When I became a principal dancer, they divvied out all of the numbers. There were 14 numbers in the show to divide between 4 girls. And so you each got a number in one of the 4 quarters of the show. So you'd have the opening, there's 2 numbers, 2 costume changes. And then in Samson, you would get either Delilah or the love couple or just S&M. And then for Titanic, you would get either Tea for Two, the Drunk Widow, one of the Dollies, and then the next set was the finale, which was Ballroom, Smoke, Red Fans, and then the Bride. So those were kind of the divvies as they were. I finally got to principal status, and not next month, but in July, I'll be sharing an entire video series about my path to principal, every single audition video that I have. I think I have 7 of them. And I'm going to share that path. It was 4 years to get from back of the chorus line as a covered bluebell all the way to principal dancer status. And it was not an easy path, and I thought it would be an interesting bunch of videos to share. So that's coming in July. Watch out for that. By the time I got to principal, I knew probably 80% of the show. There were a few numbers I did not know yet. And they were like, oh, well, you'll learn them when after contract change, you'll learn them because we need to make sure you guys can all have your vacations too. So when one of the girls went on vacation, either an understudy or one of us would swing into their spots, and then an understudy would swing into our spots. So that's kind of how it worked. I did not get White Principal Disco off the bat. It was originally, I don't know who originally, but when I was in the show, Linda Green was the White Principal Disco, and she was actually the one who taught me the number when I auditioned the very first time for Jubilee, and I had no idea, had never seen the show, and they threw this number at me. So that was my introduction to Jubilee, and the choreography. It's fierce and it's crazy at the same time. So it was Linda Green's number, and then for her last contract, they asked her to step out of that role, and they gave the number to one of the other principals. And I was like, cool, I get to do Black Principal Disco because that's my favorite costume in the whole show. So in disco, there were 3 solo spots. There was 2 twins, Black Principal Discos, and we wore these beautiful black pheasant feather backpacks with yellow tips. Favorite costume, if you are new here, it was my absolute favorite costume, like for life. Pete Menefee designed it, and it is so much fun to wear. So there were 2 of those girls. They were bookends. And then there was the opening of disco, which was the White Principal. And I recently learned that actually wasn't always a female number. It was a male number. So I had planned to learn more about that. But by the time I got into the show in the early 2000s, it was then a principal female and 2 male boys. And when I say it's White Principal Disco, it wasn't a white person performing it. It was, the costume was white, that's all. And then the Black Principal Disco was a black costume. So when I say those colors, it's because that was the color of the costume. So about 3 weeks into the show, to my new principal contract, the principal that was doing White Principal Disco every night hurt her wrist. There was a little floor work involved, and you had to land really fast and split and do these like pumping motions on the floor, and she hurt her wrist. So she could not do the number anymore. And so I think Fluff came to me and she said, Athena, I need you to learn White Principal Disco in between shows. Tonight you're going to do it tomorrow. It was not the first time they just threw me into something. The craziest one was Red Principal Fans, which I have a whole video on that we'll share at some point this year. But they trusted me to learn the choreography quick and execute it and show and perform it beautifully. So I was like, all right, cool. no worries. I kind of already knew it because I was a short nude for a while, and the short nudes come in after the three principals are dancing. The short nudes come in and they do the dance. So I already knew about 50% of the choreography. I just needed to learn the principal part of the choreography, and it wasn't that bad. Since I've been doing the show for 4 years, and the same choreographer that choreographed that number had also choreographed the short nudes, the tall nudes just paraded, but also the bluebell choreography. So I was familiar with the style. Wasn't that bad. Marlena taught me the number between shows, and we fit the costume on me. So I got my own costume for it. I think there were 2 white hats left, and they were both a little bit different. I got the biggest one. And so I did it the next day. I did it for a few days actually. And then after a few days of doing it, Fluff came to me and she said, "Nice job. White disco is now yours." And that was just like the biggest compliment ever. Because I knew when Marlena taught it to me, you had to fucking bring it to that number. There were people like Georgie, if you've ever heard of Georgie Bernasek, she is like famous in Las Vegas for being, it's tall, I think she's 6'1" without heels on, long, huge, crazy kicks, extremely talented, and a major show person, like wow, performer. And she later went on, I think she still performs with Penn and Teller as I wouldn't call her an assistant, a magic assistant, but she's in their show. I don't know if it's all the time, but it was a big role to fill. Almost, to me, it felt as big as Delilah or Principal Red Fans, because those were like the iconic principal numbers in the show. And so I was like, I have big shoes to fill. Georgie did this number, so I have to bring it. And I did. And I got the number, and I was so pleased to do it for the rest of Linda Green's contract into my last contract. And that's the only number I really miss performing besides Red Fans, which I got to do a handful of times. But White Disco was my number, and that was when I could bring out that fierce, sexy, like, feminine energy that some people may have gotten to see me perform in burlesque. So that was the story of White Disco and how I got that number. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in seeing more of these fun little anecdotes about my time in Jubilee and some of the things I've learned from my podcast guests, I would love if you would become a patron. If you want to become part of this community and keep this movement going, I would love to have you. All you have to do is pledge $5, $10, or $25, and you get access to bonus episodes, bonus videos, and all kinds of fun little things that I like to do for my community. Your contribution will help me continue to create the podcast. It will help me continue to make these amazing sparkly videos, and also more beautiful costumes. So I would love to have you as part of my community. If you're not ready to commit right now, you can join my email list and test out our little relationship here. And I share bits about my life, bits about what's going on in my sparkly business, and let you know the next podcast, the next costume vlog, any of that stuff. I'm creating lots of cool videos and podcasts and things to share this awesome part of sparkly entertainment history. So if you want to be part of that, please either become a patron or join my email newsletter, and you will have access to the goods. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next month. Bye.